and I make dollars.
All right, ladies, at this time, I'd like to introduce our host for the evening, my good friend, Chris Carrino.
TJ, the DJ, my man. Thank you so much, TJ. Thank you so much to the Brooklyn Nets, the dance team, and Team Hype. You guys are awesome. Can't wait till we could stop looking at you guys through a computer screen and we could see you at Barclays Center doing your thing, because you are outstanding, tremendous, as my partner Tim Capstraw on the radio would say. Good evening, folks, and welcome to our 2020 virtual gala. You saw some of the sights and sounds of last year's gala at Russo's on the Bay. Fingers crossed, July 22nd, 2021, we can get back together. It won't be the 10th annual because we broke the string, but it will be the 10th anniversary of the Chris Carrino Foundation for FSHD. Some of the things I want to get across here tonight, if I could just bring it to what we're all about. I want to introduce you to some people who you're helping, show you how you're helping. And later on, we're going to hear from inspirational people in my Nets family. The great Sarah Kustock will be joining us. Nets players Spencer Dinwiddie and Joe Harris will be joining us as well. And the theme that will run throughout the course of the night is inspiration, because it's at the heart of everything we do in trying to find a cure for this disease, FSHD. You know, the obstacle is often the way. And we weren't able to meet in person this year, but this may introduce us to people who wouldn't ordinarily see what we're all about. Many of you are watching live. Many of you will watch it after the fact on the internet. But before we get to Sarah and Joe and Spencer, I want to get a glimpse into who it is you're helping when you make a donation to the Carrino Foundation for FSHD. And by the way, you can donate throughout this live event. Underneath the video right now, you see red letters that say donate here. If you click that button, it will open up a new screen for you. You'll be able to make a donation while you listen to the video and watch the video, so you won't have to go away from it as well. There's also silent auction items, and we will have that open until 8:15. Then at 8:15, that will end, and whoever had the highest bid will win. All right, so now we got that all out of the way. I want to bring in, all the way out in San Francisco, the Bay Area, my good friend Jeff Baum is joining us right now. And Jeff, it's so great to see you. Good evening.
Hey, Chris. Good to see you as well. Thanks for having me be a part of this event.
Well, Jeff, you're out there in San Francisco, and I just want to let people in on how you and I came to meet. You reached out to me one time when I was out in the Bay Area. I don't think you knew I was out there. And you just DM'd me on Twitter and said, hey, you know, I'm in the FSHD community and I want to know what I can do to help. And then you and I had a phone conversation, and then 2 days later we met in San Francisco. Could you tell our audience of people here who are people with FSHD or care about people with FSHD, your background and what led you to message me that day?
Yeah, absolutely. So quick background about myself. I was diagnosed with FSHD when I was a senior in high school. I was a student athlete. I played a lot of sports. I, was very, active, and all of a sudden just started noticing certain things going on and didn't really know. And like a lot of people with FSHD, went down a slightly long road to through, people thinking it might have been a sports injury, or not really knowing what it was until finally, one neurologist figured it out. And all of a sudden I was diagnosed with this thing called FSHD, and it was just kind of surreal. At that time, I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't know, what to expect, or it was all very new to me. And I kind of just, at the time my symptoms were on the milder side, and I kind of just buried it in a way. And I didn't really, do too much about it, I guess. I kind of just lived my life the same, and just dealt with whatever was, affecting me. And that was that. But as I, about a few years ago, as I was, newly married and starting to think about having a family, I realized, there's more people, who this can affect than just myself. And I just kind of, one day woke up and said, my family has the ability to really to help out. And, I have the ability to help out. So kind of like that quote goes, I have the responsibility to, help the people of the FSHD community so that I can, try to secure a better future for myself and the people around me and everyone with FSHD. And thanks to Chris and everything that he's done and starting his foundation and all the podcasts he goes on and all the awareness he brings to it, I was lucky enough to have a place to go once I was ready to kind of join the fight. And I'm very grateful, for Chris for everything he's done because he made it easy. Like he said, I reached out to him on social media, and within a couple hours, we were on the phone talking about, my story, his story, FSHD. And he happened to be also, in the Bay Area doing some, games for the Warriors, with the Warriors versus Nets. And a couple of days after that, I think, I'm not sure exactly how long, but we met in person and we, got coffee with Tim and his family and, hit it off right away. Obviously everyone knows how great of a guy Chris is. And I basically, he took me under his wing and allowed me to, support his foundation and be a part of the fight. And since then, he's introduced me to a lot of people in the field, and it's allowed me to really get involved the last few years in the research, meet a lot of amazing people, patients, researchers, people who support the foundation. And so, again, I'm very grateful for Chris for that. And it's given me a lot of, makes me feel more empowered to be able to be a part of helping out to find a cure for this. And, I'm very confident that's going to happen in the near future. So that's kind of how it all happened. And that's how we're, find ourselves here today.
And Jeff, it's funny because my wife and my son, Laura and Chris, were there that day. We met with you in San Francisco. And, Laura remarked after we met about how much your personality and your attitude toward the disease sort of, it reminded her of me. And I think that's you and I have had that sort of kinship there, but I find it in common with a lot of people with FSHD who, when it's milder, they can sort of deal with it and they don't want to talk about it. It's hard to make yourself vulnerable. But I applaud you for taking that responsibility and taking that leadership role in trying to secure a future for people with FSHD. Right now, we're going to be joined by a special correspondent to the Carrino Foundation for FSHD, who has a bit of news for us right now. It is Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN, NBA insider. And Jeff, I know how much of a hoops fan you are. So Adrian is coming on with some breaking news. Woj, this would be a Woj bomb, by the way.
100%. Chris, Jeff, everybody, it's an honor to be here with you. I tend to try to be a little prompter than this with breaking news, but I do have some. Jeff and Carly Baum welcomed in a son in July 13th. Luka Baum. I have some questions about why it wasn't Draymond Baum, Steph Baum, Clay Baum, but Luka Baum born on July 13th. And so honored to come in and share that news with everybody and really honored to be here with Chris and Jeff in this fight with FSHD. Chris is an inspiration to me and learning Jeff's story now. This entire community is remarkable and special, and those who have worked with Chris and worked alongside and fought with him and all the people Chris has brought into this fight. It's remarkable. It's an inspiration, and I'm so glad and honored to be here with everybody tonight and look forward to the rest of the evening here.
And Jeff, if Carly's out there listening somewhere, I don't know if she's got Luka. They want to make a cameo in here, have them run in the room right now and do so. Woj, I want to say thank you to you because what you did for us, I believe it was back in 2015. Amazingly, that it was about 5 years. or 5 years ago now, when you were still with the Vertical and Yahoo. You did a piece on the foundation. You came to my home. You spent a couple of days with my family, and that piece gave us so much awareness. And other organizations even would ask me if they could use it at some of their functions in order to give people insight on what it was like to live with FSHD and what organizations like mine are trying to do. So I can't thank you enough for doing that, because you did an immense service to everyone with FSHD.
Well, I mean,
and
thank
also,
you for that. Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
And also, I know you have a bit of news. There was someone in that piece, Dr. Peter Jones, who came in. Oh wait, here we go, Woj. We've got baby Draymond. No, baby Luka.
There he is.
Hey, there he is.
There he is.
We like the name Luka, even though we're taking the risk that he might end up being a Mavericks fan someday. But we'll see what happens.
That's all right. That's not a bad thing to be. It's going to be a fun team. But boy, 13.9 ounces, 18.5 inches at birth. Luka has grown. He has grown since July 13th.
But also, Woj, we had Dr. Peter Jones on in that video. And I understand you have sources everywhere. You have news on Peter Jones as well, don't you?
Again, belated, like this is, I have been on top of stories in quicker fashion than this, but Dr. Peter Jones, when we did the piece with you, Chris, and he was at UMass Medical at that time, he was traded to the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine. And so he is there continuing the fight with FSHD. And I think of that piece and the work that Dr. Jones has done with you, and just inspirational, and to with the resources he had to help get you down the road. And your willingness, Chris, at the very start of this to really make yourself very vulnerable in the piece we did, and to show people how difficult it is day to day to do things the rest of us take for granted in our daily lives and our work lives. And I've seen you in arenas, and I know the rest of us take for granted walking up the stairs to press row, and how much time, and coming down the staircase of the next team charter and in an icy winter night. And we saw you do that, I think, in Detroit, doing the piece, and things the rest of us take for granted. And those with FSHD every day have to put an incredible amount of effort and energy and courage into, and those around you who are there with you, and your partner Tim Capstraw. Like, when I think of teammates in the NBA, I think of great, you think of like Clay and Steph at Golden State, and Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis in Dallas. I think of Chris Carrino and Tim Capstraw with the Nets, and I don't think there's a better set of teammates anywhere that I know in basketball. And that's a tribute to Tim and the kind of friend that he's been to you, to the foundation. And I think anybody who's been around you, Chris, and has spent time with you is inspired. And to have Jeff here and the impact he's made on your fundraising efforts, and your the way you've gotten out and made FSHD part of the conversation around the NBA and beyond is it's been an incredible 10 years, and I'm glad to have played a small part in helping to share and tell your story, Chris.
Woj, thank you so much. You're the best. I can't thank you for taking the time. And Jeff, thank you for your story. And Luka, right there, you are as cute as anything, man. That great head of hair on you too right now. Thank you both, gentlemen. The three.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Woj, for all the support. Thank you, everyone, for that's watching, for your support as well. The FSHD community and myself and my
Great.
family really appreciate it. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, guys. And get out there, donate. We've got donations coming in. Thanks, Diana Ferrara. Thanks, Gary Cohen. My man, Scott Cullither. I can't thank you enough for what you've done. And even throwing another $1,000 in there. And Stuart Cohen, thank you very much for your donations. And so that's who we're doing it for. And now we're going to show you how we do it. And we're going to go out to Nevada, where you heard Woj break that news. Yes, not as timely as he normally would, but in between what we've done and what we're doing now, and bring in Dr. Peter Jones at the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine. And Peter, I want to quickly get to you and pivot to, I know it's a hard act to follow right there with little Luca and Woj. What's going on? What's the path right now? Where are we seeing FSHD research and a path to a cure or a treatment?
Right. So it's really an exciting time now, because 5 years ago when we did that piece for Woj, we were really still searching for some avenues, but now we understand the disease mechanism so well. We have some targets, and now there's so many ways that you can attack FSHD therapeutically. And we see that there's a clinical trial going on right now with Fulcrum Therapeutics, but that's just the beginning of it. There are so many things in the pipeline right now. It's just really exciting. There's other small molecules. There's some antisense things coming along, with new companies are getting into the game all the time. I get calls all the time from seeking advice, should we get into FSHD? And the answer is always yes. There's just so many different technologies. You know that we're doing CRISPR. That just the Nobel Prize and just a couple of weeks ago in chemistry was for CRISPR. It's a great target for certain CRISPR approaches, and we're doing that. And thanks to your funding, we're doing that actually. So it's a really bright. It's never fast enough. I understand that, but we are so much further ahead than we were even just a few years ago, and in large part thanks to your foundation and the donations that people are making. It's just really exciting time to be in research.
Peter,
and I think there's a lot of hope.
Yeah. Whenever I talk to researchers like yourself and others that we fund, I mean, we're funding Fran at St. Louis University and Scott Harper at Ohio State, and everyone there in Seattle at the Hutchinson Center, and other places, Yale University. I know Dr. Cohen there and the Leck Lab that you introduced us to and got us going there with them. What was your inspiration for taking on FSHD as a lifelong mission for you?
No, it's funny because people think I must have a family member or something, but the truth of the matter is, I was at the University of Illinois, starting my lab as a junior PI back in 2002, and a grad student just came into my office and said, Dr. Jones, I'd like to, I saw your website, I see you work on epigenetic diseases. I'd like you to, if I could join your lab and work on this disease called FSHD. And I was like, that's kind of just a weird thing for someone to come in out of the blue. And I asked why, and he said, well, I was just diagnosed with it. And I didn't know what it was. I'd never heard of it, and I looked it up, and thought, that fits my research interests. And that was Ryan Wibbles. He joined my lab as my first graduate student. We started a little project, and it just grew and grew, and now we are full-time FSHD lab and really integrated into the worldwide FSHD community, all because, and this is, just like you, a patient said, I'm not going to just let someone take care of it. I'm going to do something about it. And he did something about it. You started a foundation, you're doing something about it. And now, we're training people. We have all these approaches going, and we never would have gotten into this if a patient hadn't taken the initiative to do something about it. And we'd never be able to do anything if a patient, hadn't taken the initiative to get some funding. Everything costs money. Everyone has a role, and we're trying to do our part on the research end. And so, it's a big, we're just part of the team.
I always say, you try and tell your story to as many people as possible, because it's not that it helps to reach as many people as you can, but it betters your chances of meeting the right person and letting the right person hear it. And obviously by Ryan being open about his condition, he met you, who were the right person, and hopefully will lead us to a treatment and a cure one day. Doc, as always, I enjoy speaking with you. I appreciate being able to call you and your candor. You know, we do what we can with our organization. Whatever we raise goes all to researchers like yourself. We try and educate ourselves as much as we can, so we're giving it to the right people so that your money is used in the right way. And we applaud all your efforts and all you've done. And thank you very much for joining us here tonight and for everything that you do. Thank you, Peter.
No, thanks very much. And let me give a shout out to say, bang for your buck, the Chris Carrino Foundation. They fund the most impactful projects out there. So we really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Peter. You're the best. Thank you so much. And again, get your donations right now. You can just click, if you're in the main screen with the red donate here button under there, you can click on it and it'll take you to another screen while the live event is still playing, and you can make your donations. And that will be open for a while, and you can go to our website as well. Let's pivot. I'm going to bring in now one of my the people in my Nets family, the people that travel with me, is so important in my life. And an inspiration to me is a person who, if I would describe her, it's like if sunshine were a person, it would be Sarah Kustock. Sarah is the very first full-time female NBA analyst. She has broken through that glass ceiling, and she joins us here tonight. Sarah, it's always uplifting to be around you, even if it's virtually here today.
See, I would say the same things about you. I'm so thrilled to be here. And you say Nets family, and you truly are family.
Thank you, Sarah. You started at the bottom. You worked your way to a place where very few have ever gone. What gets you motivated? What is the thing that inspires you to keep pushing forward and breaking those barriers?
That's an excellent question. See, because I think we can find inspiration in so many people every single day. I would say the heart of my inspiration, always at the core, is my mother. I lost my parents about 9 years ago, and they were everything to me. My biggest fans, my biggest supporters, those who believed in me and inspired me most. And so, needless to say, I was gutted. Still, that takes place every single day. But a dear friend of mine said something to me that stuck with me, that I think about every moment of every day. And he said, "You and your brother will always be your mother's greatest legacy." And she was an angel on earth. She made you feel like you were the most special person and the most important person in the world to every person she ever came across. And she was a teacher, and she cared so deeply about kids, about the youth, about future generations, and how important it was to help make an impact on the lives of kids and what they can do and the difference that they can make. So with what I do, it's not just about professionally, it's not just about personally or socially, it's all of those things. I am inspired by the thought of being the very best version of myself, so that the people around us are inspired to be better. And that in particular includes young kids, young boys, young girls, who face so many challenges that sometimes we know about, sometimes we don't. And that is at the very core of everything I think about and everything I do on a daily basis. And I say all that to say that then you look at those around you and the people that you draw so much of that love and that gratitude towards. And whether it's friends, whether it's colleagues, whether it's families, we're going to hear from Joe Harris and we're going to hear from Spencer Dinwiddie. So grateful to have the jobs we do, but I have an opportunity to watch these individuals and what they pour into it, the challenges they overcome. I'm inspired on a daily basis watching them. And most importantly, Chris Carrino, I am inspired by you. You are relentless on a daily basis in the challenges you face, in the strength you show, in the resiliency you have. And it's not just the fact that you show up, it is how you show up. You want to talk about sunshine, your positive outlook and attitude and everything that you embody is the epitome of what it means to be an inspiration. And I am proud and I am humbled to call you a colleague, but even more so, a friend. And for those reasons, I'm not saying this because this is your gala. We are here because of you. We are here because we are inspired by you. And I wouldn't be where I am today, and you talk about professionally, but even personally, even how we're able to be humans and treat people and do the things we do on a daily basis, if I was not so fortunate to be around extraordinary people, especially like you, that keep us inspired.
Wow. That was incredible, Sarah. Thank you so much. You could be talking about your time and what you are experiencing and have experienced in your life. It mirrors what somebody like me or anyone with FSHD goes through. The inspiration in our lives are the day-to-day people who help us get through what we need to do. And it doesn't feel inspirational because it's tough. But I can't, when I think of people like Lauren Green, who has been with us in the past, and Dan LeBird and the great Hiram Chan, these are people that helped me get up and down the stairs to the airplane. When you and I you grab one of my bags or something, that is inspiring to me, and that's what makes me keep going. Hey, I knew we were going to do this because I like to talk, so we are getting behind. I want to welcome in another special guest right now, the great Joe Harris, who has made it out of the bubble, and he is here to join us. Hey,
Yeah.
Joe.
What's up, guys?
Joe.
Honor to be here, Chris.
I want to know.
Good to see you, Sarah.
Thank you, buddy.
Joe.
I want to know what's the first thing you did when you got out of the bubble?
Well, I actually left the bubble a little bit earlier because I attended my grandmother's funeral. So, I guess I was unfortunate for that, but I got a chance to spend a lot of time with my family, which is what I wanted to do when I left the bubble anyways. So I got to be with my sisters, my nieces, spend time with my girlfriend, and see my parents.
Joe, you were a great player at Virginia, and you're a draft pick into the NBA, and you're with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then suddenly they trade they get LeBron back, and they weren't into player development, and they trade you to Orlando, and you had an injury, and you get cut, and you're out of the league. And you find a home in Brooklyn, and now you're going into this offseason as one of the top free agents available in the NBA. I mean, it's an amazing jump and leap. What got you through that time when you were basically out of the league that got you to where you are at this moment?
I think I remember back to the day that I was traded. I'd actually just had surgery on my foot. It all happened in the same day where I had surgery on my foot. I just got out of the operating room. GM from Cleveland called me up, that they were trading me to Orlando, and then Orlando subsequently called me about like 40 minutes, hour later, and let me know that they had waived me. So I went from basically being on a championship team, a little unfortunate side, I had to have surgery, but I was still hopefully going to be a part of a championship team, to not even being on an NBA roster. And then, the whole cycle and process from going from there to signing with the Nets in free agency, that following free agency. and unity. That was the biggest thing. The Nets, I think you guys obviously are well aware of this, were in an unusual position where they couldn't rebuild through the draft. They had to go out and find young players that, maybe needed a second chance, another opportunity. And I just happened to be one of those guys that kind of fit the bill. And I'm extremely fortunate for that because I was provided the opportunity to kind of learn and play through a lot of mistakes where I wouldn't have really been afforded that opportunity in a number of other spots.
Is there something you leaned on during that time that helped you sort of stay focused and get where you needed to be? Either a person, something you may have had in your head and that gave you inspiration at that moment?
Yeah, definitely. I think at the end of the day, so much of my life is geared around sort of the philosophy that was instilled in me by my parents, and just, the constant love and support that I'm always, getting from them. But their whole thing to me from the time that I've been a young kid to right now is, it's actually kind of a testament to old former coach John Wooden, and a quote that he had for a lot of his players is that, success is a peace of mind and knowing that you did your best to become the best that you're capable of becoming. And for me, it was, did you do the best that you could? Can you live with yourself? And for me, is, there are a lot of adverse times and setbacks along the way, but as long as you do your best, you have the right attitude of whatever you're doing, things fall out how they're supposed to fall out, and I kind of
Yeah,
always
that
just lean on
mindset.
that. Yeah, that mindset all the
That
time. It's not about what happens, it's about how you react to what happens.
You're an inspirational story, Joe, because you've come a long way in your life from what many people sometimes get. Something happens in their life, they think that is going to be the worst thing that could possibly happen. But you have to learn how to make the most of it and what it teaches you. We're going to bring in one of your teammates right now, who is joining us. Another guy who experienced a time where he probably thought it could be over for him. Although I know he's a confident guy, so maybe you never thought that, and maybe that's what got him through. So let's bring in Spencer Dinwiddie right now. Spencer joining us. It's so great to see you, Spencer. The hair is a little different.
Yeah, man, I got braids over quarantine. It's nice to see you guys.
Spencer, thank you so much for joining us. We were just talking to Joe about what happened with him and getting into the NBA. You were a guy out of LA. You go to Colorado, and you're going to be a lottery pick, and you blow out your knee. And then you have to make it the hard way. You have to go through the second round, the G League, teams cutting you, and then the Nets give you a chance. You come back, you make the most of it, and now you've played at an all-star level. You're a star player in this NBA league right now. At your darkest moments, what was it that got you through?
Well, I think multiple things. My family's a great support system. My parents always kind of instilled confidence in me since I was young. Um, I think taking away from the practices that we have in the NBA was big for me because I used to play really well in my Detroit practices. And it was a time when it was like China, the G League. And I just felt like, my story wasn't supposed to end in China. I know, like, once guys go over there, they make great money. It's all good. But coming back is virtually impossible. So, betting on myself and going to the Windy City Bulls was just kind of a product of, how I was raised. So credit my parents. But then also the fact that I played well in practice, I just felt like my story was supposed to end that way. But there were definitely times while being in the G League where I was like, man, if I'm here the rest of this year, like I gotta just go to China next year and just focus on life and making the best of it for my family.
Do you think there in some way, and again, I go through this with experience. I feel like the things that have happened in my life have made me a better person. I learned lessons that I don't know if I would have ordinarily learned if I didn't have to go through the hardships. Are there things that you may have learned about yourself, about what you want to, how you want to live your life that you may not have learned, or it may have been difficult for you to learn without going through those situations?
Yeah, I mean, I think going on my knee right before the draft and having, just the perception fall and all that stuff definitely helped shape the man I am today. Just in terms of being resilient and dealing with hardships and, you know, even though maybe not outwardly communicating it, but being more empathetic. Uh, I think like those things come when you have to deal with certain things, right? And I mean, obviously being in the NBA and in a very competitive culture, being vulnerable isn't always, uh, the thing to do in a sense, right? But once you've had a type of hardship and you see other guys going through different things, you definitely can put yourselves in their shoes a little bit more, right? Like everybody has their own battle, so you may not know 100%, but it lets you show that text, it lets you have that conversation on the side because you understand how hard and how dark it can really get. So in a lot of ways, I'm appreciative of it. I think I'm a more well-rounded person for it.
Well, Joe and Spencer, I can't thank you guys enough for coming on here and joining. I know net fans, whether they're watching it live or they'll watch it later on, appreciate it. We could talk X's and O's another time, but I wanted to give people a little bit of what they can hang on in terms of, when things do come into your life, that if you're, as Joe mentioned, your mindset is that I will get through this. I will learn from this. I will be a better person from it. Sometimes that's enough to get you through. And I thank you guys. I applaud the example that you are, and I appreciate it. And I can't wait to see you really live, like in the same arena when we get back to playing, guys.
Oh man, we can't wait
So
too,
thank
Chris.
you.
We appreciate you though, man, and it's an honor to be here. We love you, man.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
man.
And Sarah, you are sunshine. I appreciate you being here. I know the guys love you. We all love you. We appreciate you opening up to us tonight, and it's really a blessing that all of you are in my life. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
We love you, Steve. Thank you.
Guys, I'm going to I just want to say quick thanks to a lot of people who throughout this broadcast have been donating, from Eli Pearlstein, Pearls of Wisdom from Eli, of course. Brian Villa, my friend. How you doing, Brian? Joe Schwartz, Spiro Ditas. That was very kind of you, Spiro, my Fordham brother, and great broadcaster. Dave Popkin, another great broadcaster. Hey, Lori O'Brien, thank you so much, Lori, and Diane Ferrara and Gary Cohen. I can't thank you guys enough for being here. You heard great inspirational stories. I'm so excited. And, years from now, when I say 2020, I won't have to explain why we weren't able to be with each other in person this year. Everyone knows that it affects the world. And you've seen the way the world has rallied around the cause of trying to get us back to some kind of normalcy. But when I say FSHD, you have to explain it to people. The world doesn't know about it. The world hasn't rallied around it. And our mission is to try and let as many people know so that it can reach the right person. And then we can get the kind of treatment and cure that we need for this disease. You've seen here tonight who you're doing it for. It's not just me, it's all those people. You met Jeff Baum, and I told you that when Laura met Jeff Baum, she said, it's like you 10 years ago, right? And extrapolate that to thousands of people who all have that same story. That's who you're helping. And how we're doing it, you heard from Peter Jones, right? A guy who was inspired by one of his med school students to pursue a cure for FSHD. I once told a researcher, I said, you guys are like geniuses. And they go, no, we're really just mechanics. We know how the car works. We could see what's wrong and we just try and fix it. showing humility. But these are the guys who are going to change people's lives. You know, we fund research at the Chris Carrino Foundation. It's hard to get excited about that, right? Research, no offense to Peter, boring, slow, and not guaranteed to work. Let's put that on a t-shirt. Let's put that on a billboard, right? Slow, boring, not guaranteed to work. But as the writer James Baldwin said, well, first of all, it reminds me of two things. Number one, it's what we need to do. It's like the proverb of you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. We don't do the stuff where we cut ribbons and make sizzle reel videos out of. We got to do the work in the research so that we can feed the FSHD community for a lifetime and help everyone. And the James Baldwin quote I was referring to is, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed unless it is faced. My wife, Laura, she confronted me back in 2011, as we're approaching 10 years. And the word she used was, you have to face this. You have to acknowledge what's going on. So that's what we're trying to do with the Carrino Foundation for FSHD. We're trying to face the challenge. It may not work, but the only guarantee we have of it not working is if we do nothing. I want to thank everyone who's been a part of this. I can't thank Scott Cullither and my friends at Invent and 4Wall for setting this up. Thanks to Jeff and Peter and all the scientists and the researchers. Thanks to my friends at Compass Media Networks, the great Peter Kosan. You guys inspire me. Everyone who helps someone with FSHD is the inspiration that I need to keep going. The little thing, every time I see one donation coming through, it inspires me to continue what I'm doing. Every time you hear me on the radio, you know that I had people in my life who got me there, figuratively and literally. Inspiration is not always about climbing Mount Everest or doing something grand. It's little gestures, day to day. And that's what we're all about here. Two of my biggest inspirations, the people who keep me going on a daily basis, are here with me in the room right now. I want to bring them over here with me. You guys know, whoever gets here first, my wife, Laura, my son, Christopher. You know, it was 20 years ago yesterday that Laura and I celebrated the anniversary of our first date.
Yeah.
And, you know, the courage that she showed a couple months later when I told her about FSHD, and she decided to take that maybe scary, unknown journey with me, and now staying by my side while we do this, inspires me every day to be a better person, to be a better husband. And the guy next to me, to my right, my son Christopher, is getting a lot taller, as you can see from the last one, and a little more hair. He inspires me every day to be a better father. And what he's had to see in his life, and how he's turned out, and what he's been able to do to help me and everybody out there with FSHD by being there for me, nothing inspires me more than these two people right here. So thank you so much, everybody. You know, from the people who get us around, my neighbor Ira, I forgot to mention Ira when I mentioned Peter and Compass Media. But as I tell everybody in that room at Russo's, I can feel the love. And where we have love, we can accomplish anything. I feel the love through the computer today. I feel it. And we'll see you July 22nd. July 22nd, 2021, our 10th anniversary gala in person. We'll be there. I hope you can be there too. Thank you very much to TJ, the DJ. TJ is going to play us out. 8:15, the polls close. The auction closes 8:15. Then you can go watch the debate and the Giant game, whatever you want to watch. TJ, thank you so much. If you have a party, contact T. Not indoors though, outdoors, socially distanced party. TJ the DJ. Thank you, TJ. Thanks everybody. Have a great night. Thank you very much.